Now let's talk about functions and function notation. So in here, we'll be able to identify functions and use correct notation to evaluate functions at numerical and variable values. So there are many different types of equations that we can work with in algebra. An equation gives the relationship between variables and numbers. So there is a special classification of relationships known as functions. So how do we know whether the relationship is a function? So functions have at most one output for any input. Generally, x is the variable that we plug into an equation and evaluate to find y. So for this reason, x is considered an input variable and y is considered an output variable. So this means the definition of a function in terms of equations in x and y could be said that for any x value, there is at most one y value that corresponds with it. So a great way to visualize this definition is to look at the graphs of a few relationships. Because x values are vertical lines, so we will draw a vertical line through the graph, and if the vertical line crosses the graph more than once, then that means we have too many possible y values. And if the if the vertical line crosses the graph only once, then we say the relationship is a function. Say for example, okay, this is our graph. Okay, so drawing a vertical line through this graph will cross the graph twice. You can draw here. So this is our x. So that means this is not a function. So okay, not a function. How about this graph here? Let's say our graph looks like this. So drawing a vertical line through this graph, let's say here. Okay, so our vertical line here will only cross the graph once. So that means this is a function. So we can also use the algebraic method by taking a relationship and solving the relationship for y. So if we have only one solution, then it is a function. Say for example, we're given this equation 3x squared minus y equals 5. Now we want to identify whether this equation is a function. So all we have to do is solve the relation for y. So we're interested in y, so we can subtract 3x squared from both sides. So minus 3x squared here and minus 3x squared. So this one cancels out. So this is 0. So we are left with negative y equals 5 minus 3x squared. So dividing both sides by -1, this would become y equals 3x squared minus 5. So there's only one solution for y here. Then that means this relationship between x and y is a function. Okay, let's take a look at another example. Say for example, we're given this equation y squared minus x equals 5. So is this equation a function? So we need to solve for the relation for y. So we have to eliminate x here. So we add x to both sides. This cancels out, equals 0. So we're left with y squared, and on the right side we have 5 plus x. So we square root both sides. We get y equals plus minus square root of 5 plus x. So in this case, there are two solutions for y. One is positive 5 plus x, and the other one is negative 5 plus x. Therefore, this relationship between x and y is not a function.